Welcome to the Experience Annex podcast, episode number 25. Life is full of experiences and it's good. You learn from the experience of others. The title of this episode is The Top 8 Myths About Book Writing. In this episode, I debunk the top 8 myths about book writing or joining the book fraternity, paving the way for you to write your New York Times bestseller starting now. I'm Paul Uduk, the creator of BWC Squared, Book Writing Clinic and Book Writers Club, where I show friends like you how to start converting ideas into books and other forms of intellectual properties. I'm also the creator of IBMC, Internet Business Mastery course, where I show aspiring internet entrepreneurs how to succeed at scale online. I'm also the creator of OCNA, Online Course Creators Community for newbies and advanced beginners, with over 12,500 members from all over the world. One of the greatest feelings on earth one can experience is to join the ranks of published authors. Once your book is published, you join the ranks of the immortals. You begin to rub shoulders with legends like Homer, Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka, Frederick Douglass, Virginia Woolf, Tom Peters, Peter Drucker, to mention just 7. With the advent of the internet, many are joining the book writing trend with gusto, but the overwhelming majority are still being held back by pervasive myths about book writing and the book trade in general. In this episode, I debunk the top 8 myths, clearing the way for you to jump into the book writing fraternity and publish your book, your New York Times bestseller starting now. Jump in. The water is warmer than you think. But first, the myths. Number 1, book writing is for the most educated. The most educated people are professors, some with triple PhDs. The likes of Marshall Goldsmith, Michael Porter, Ali Masri all come to mind. But do you know the very first writer had no education at all? Homer, one of the earliest writers whose works dates back more than 2,500 years, had no academic qualification as we know it today. If Homer could do it then, you have no excuse whatever with the resources available on the internet, Google, Amazon, that make book writing more or less a walk through the park. Number 2, only old people write books. That's the number 2 myth. This myth is related to the fact that the earliest drawings and artworks of writers always depicted men with long white beards. The earliest writings by the prophets, the apostles, and disciples had all this hue. While that might have been the case in ancient times, today, a writer can be of any age. Dorothy Straits was only 6 when her book, How the World Began, was published in 1962. Christopher Paolini, the author of The Inheritance Cycle, is a best-selling book series that has sold over 20 million copies, was 15 when the first cycle was released. So start writing your book as young people write books too. You must be wise to write a book. That is myth number 3. This myth is closely related to myth number one, but takes the myth a notch higher. Wise men, by definition, have stellar education, have white beards, and a sprinkling of blessing from on high. So the saying goes. So the saying goes, nothing can be further from the truth. As myth number two, already debunked above, clarifies. Some of the world's most beloved authors are ordinary men and women that have found their passion and a message to share with the world. J.K. Rowling, the richest writer in the world, started writing while teaching while teaching English as a foreign language in Portugal. And here is the story of the Delany sisters, Sarah Louise Delany and Annie Elizabeth Delany, who wrote their first book in 1994, aged 106 and 104, respectively. Sarah was a school teacher and Annie a dentist. Their book, having our say, the Delany sisters' first 100 years, set the reading world on fire and became a New York Times bestseller. The import of this story is that you are never too old or too young. You don't have to be a wise person to write a book. Number four, you must be an expert before you can write a book. That's myth number four. This myth is closely related to myth two, also earlier debunked, but with the added twist that you must be a celebrity, recognized the world over as an expert in your field before you can write a book. In this regard, Ben Carson, widely recognized as one of the world's most gifted neurosurgeons, quickly comes to mind. Ironically, none of Ben Carson's over 10 books, including The Gifted Hands, The Big Picture, A More Perfect Union, is on neurosurgery. Neither are Bill Gates' books, The Road Ahead and Business at the Speed of Light or at the Speed of Thought, on coding or computer programming. So you don't have to write or be an expert to write a book, as you can write on any subject that tickles your imagination. Number five, myth number five, you need an agent to get your book published. This must have been the case in the era that no longer exists, when the powerful and monopolistic publishing houses elsewhere. Today, with self-publishing self-publishing companies widely derided by the powerful monopolies as vanity publishing, helping lesser mortals like me and you to bring our ideas and stories to light. Anybody can write a book and get it published. So say goodbye to literary agents and get your book off to a roaring start, starting now. Number six, it's very expensive to publish a book. That is the myth number six. This was the case in the analog age, when literary agents elsewhere, it cost a small fortune in those days to get a literary agent. Literary agents were like investment bankers. They charged by the hour, and only the most financially well-heeled could afford them, thanks to technology. Today, that's no longer the case. In fact, some self-publishing technologies like Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP, are so simple. You can produce an ebook, a paper book, an audio book from the comfort of your laptop. If you don't know how to operate a laptop, go and learn. You don't even need to convert your book to any arcane language like Mobi, EPUB, or EPUB. The Amazon platform does everything for you. Type your book in Microsoft Word and leave the rest to the Amazon platform, and you are a published author. So it is not very, is it very expensive to publish a book? The answer is self-evident. It is not. Number 7, you need 7 years to write one book. This point is both a myth and a fact. It is a fact in the sense that anything worth doing is worth doing well. Take Michael Jackson, widely revered as king of pop, as an extreme example. On average, it took Mike between 3 to 5 years apart to come out with his mega albums, as Off the Wall, 1979, Thriller, 1982, and Bad, 1987. At the same time, you don't need 7 years to come up with a well-crafted story. John Locke, who has written more than 12 books and sold more than 1 million ebooks, publishes his book an average of 9 months apart. I wrote my ebook, Wealth Beyond Your Imagination, in 3 hours. The book coach, Chandler Bolt, has a secret on how to write a 200-page book within 90 days. What is the secret? The secret is to get an outline. So be rest assured you don't need 7 years to write a book worth reading. The final myth, myth number 8, book writing is difficult. This myth is a summary of all the other myths we have so far covered. If you have listened up to this point, you will agree that writing a book and getting it published is easy and achievable by anyone, child, man, woman, old, young, educated, uneducated. Anytime any of these myths rear their ugly heads, take a deep breath and shout at the top of your voice, I know what you are. You are just a myth, and I'm going ahead to write and publish my book right now. There is no better time in all of human history than now to write and publish your book, to get your voice heard the world over. Everyone has a story. Tell yours as others have told theirs. You could become a New York Times best-selling author. We have shared the case of J.K. Rowling of Harry Potter fame. Her first book was rejected by several publishers, but she persisted. And today, she's not only one of the wealthiest persons in the UK, she's the richest writer in the world, with her books turned to movies. Yet, she started as an English teacher and more or less a single mom, having divorced her first husband less than a year after their first child was born. The same can also be said of Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen of the chicken soup for the soul fame. According to them, the first book in the series was rejected 400 times, but they pressed on And today, the Chicken Soup for the Soul series has sold over 1 billion copies. So start writing, even if you hate writing. There's a trick you can unleash to start loving to write. Let me share with you. I promise to reveal to you the secret if you are willing to let me show you. This is the secret. Start writing now. Pick a piece of paper and a pen and write on top of the paper, the blank sheet of paper, I love writing. And just keep writing until you have written 250 words. Was that not simple? This is the end of the episode. Stay focused. Take decisive action and start writing as anybody can write a book. Until the next episode, keep writing.